Like to call to order the regular village board meeting for the village of Shorewood on October the 8th in the year 2019. Would you join me, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And roll call, please.
Mayor Chapman.
Here.
Dan Anderson.
Here.
Steve Brockman.
Here.
Cece DeBold.
Here.
Barb Kirkland. Tony Luciano.
Here.
And Dan Warren.
Here.
Okay, let the record show there's a quorum. The regular village business can be accomplished tonight. I'd like to move on. Are there any citizens that wish to address the village board tonight? Yes, ma'am. Just have to state your name for the clerk's record. And,
Good evening. My name is Michelle Eggert. I work for MHPI Mobile Home Park for Imperial. And I am here as management for Imperial Mobile Home Community. I'm here today before you to request an exception be made in the setbacks for our community. Our community houses, if you don't know, 183 property sites. Since we are an older community of the early 1970s, we are looking to improve this community by upgrading and bringing in new homes as lots become available and currently are available to this day. We are looking to bring in modern HUD-approved code, quality-built Energy Star efficiency homes. So we are looking to merely replace the existing homes on site with upgraded homes to bring up the value of the community and make it affordable housing for our residents. Going forward, we are asking as we apply for permitting that the corner lots itself be given a 5-foot from home, which is one side of the physical home, 5 feet from street, clearance of 10 feet from the other side of the home, from the back of the home back. Homes that are currently on the roadway, we are requesting 5 feet from the physical street to the home, 10 feet minimum clearance side to side, 10 feet back to back of the physical home. So typically we are looking for a minimum of 16 by 52. Looking to upgrade every lot is a little bit of a different size. We have had a meeting with the village previously, and today I am here just to request the variance to be amended for our physical community to work with us on that. That is all I have.
okay.
How do you spell your
Is,
last name?
Sure, it's E for Eddie, G-G-E-R-T, Eggert. First name Michelle.
Is Ms. Rohr out of there now?
Tracy Helson, what was the name, I'm sorry?
Rohr, R-O-H-R,
Nope, not for a while, not sure of the name.
until about 5 years ago. That's
Okay.
the last problem that I dealt with up there was
Okay.
about 5 years ago. Okay, so. Has the staff had meetings with this young lady?
Yes, we have, and I think Kelly can go into detail on where it stands today.
And where it stands today, so are we getting the cart before the horse here? Or?
Well, actually, they have requested to replace or to provide 3 new mobile home units at the park. However, based on our current code regulations, we are not allowed, well, the code requires larger setbacks than what has been proposed tonight. And so this is their sort of request to see if the board would be willing to entertain a text amendment to the code. And so we can certainly continue working with Michelle and her team to develop a text amendment, because right now the code requires, I believe it's a 15-foot setback from the street to the mobile home unit. It is an existing mobile home park. So that's really where I think that
not being on the agenda, I'm wondering if we can even be,
No, I mean, you can't take any action on it, I guess, other than informational, that she's making a request and they'll have to go
okay,
through the
just so the
process.
board's aware that this is just an informational talk. You weren't expecting us to take action, were you?
No, I was requested to come today.
Shouldn't it go through planning and zoning or
Okay.
just?
Probably will, yeah.
So that'll be something that the attorney and I will have to kind of talk about. There's multiple locations in our code where these regulations exist, and so that'll be something that we'll need to probably take a look at, what process it needs to go through.
Okay. All right, well, it was great to meet you,
Thank you.
and once we get more information, we'll be ready to. It's either a yes or a no, I can tell you that, okay? So, okay. Any other citizens wishing to address the board tonight? Okay, if not, I'm going to move on to tonight's consent agenda, which consists of approval of the regular meeting minutes of September the 24th. Also, approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes of September the 24th. Number 3, approval of accounts payable in the amount of $292,411.77. Number 4, approval of a pay request, number 3, in the amount of $31,355.55 to PT Farrow Construction Company for work completed on the 2019 MFT street improvements. And finally, approval of a payment in the amount of $95,219 to the Fields on Caton Farm for the 2019 tree replacements. Are there any items on tonight's consent agenda a trustee would like removed for further review? Are there any items that have a question?
I would request that we remove items 1 and 2. I've not seen the minutes.
Yeah. Second,
Okay,
second that. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with items 1 and 2 removed. Second.
okay, Diane, roll call, please.
Warren,
Yes.
Luciano,
Yes.
DeBold,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
and Kirkland.
Yes.
Okay, the consent agenda stands approved as amended. Moving on to reports and communications. Diane, are there any communications to the board?
No, they're not, Mayor.
Okay, I have no proclamations. What I do have is a couple of items that I'd like to bring up tonight. One is to congratulate Troy varsity baseball. Over the weekend, they went downstate, and lo and behold, they won their first game, and then Saturday morning, they lost a heartbreaker, 1-0. And it's a single elimination tournament that they're in downstate for the state championship, and they ended up coming in fourth, but a proud fourth when you look at the possibility that there's 300 school districts in that classification throughout the state. I don't know how many of them have full baseball teams, but there's got to be quite a few competing for that state title. So we should be very proud that we always have been of our Troy teams, regardless on what the team, even the chess team, I think we had in here one night. And so I'm going to set up. It was a little short notice. I'm going to try to get them in, and so we can congratulate them, the young people, for representing us as well as they did. And again, sorry if any of them are listening. Sorry for that 1-0 loss in the first round of the final elimination. So, at any rate, congratulations to Troy. Another thing I'd like to bring up, and I'm going to ask the staff, I've already talked to them this afternoon, but I want to talk about these storage boxes that are popping up all over the village. And we got one that became a real problem because it popped up and never went away. Okay, and it popped up over 6 months ago. Lately, the staff had counted up about 11 of them that are out there right now that they're aware of. And myself, I'm aware of 5 just up in my neighborhood, my area, and that have been there for a month or 2 in these driveways, okay? And I realize that they're used in a lot of cases for people moving to where they move their furniture out to the boxes. But I thought that the method was supposed to be, they were supposed to fill the box up, have the box picked up, taken back to storage until they move, not left in the driveway. I mean, if you can't park a nice fifth wheel camper in your driveway, but you can come in with these storage boxes and drop them. We don't have anything on the books to control this. So what I asked Kelly to do was to look into this, get her staff together, and see if they can give us an amendment to our ordinance about parking around the residence, and see if we can incorporate something in there that you people would agree would be advantageous so that we can actually have our staff do something. Right now, and I'll give you the example. I personally talked to the lady who's had it in the driveway for 6 months, and she immediately told me, you don't have anything on the books to control this. Okay? So that'll give you an idea that we need something on the books to control this, okay? All right? So I would ask, and unless somebody has an objection here on the board, I would ask the administrator to have the staff look into that item and see if we can come up with something. Okay? Any questions on either one of those issues?
Mayor, you had something you spoke about a month ago about beautification awards, especially like the dentist, what he did. How's that coming along?
Yeah. Tell you the truth, I really haven't had an opportunity to get on it. But I'm glad you brought it up because
Yeah.
memory, sometimes. Thank you.
I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Quick question, with the storage boxes, couldn't they be deemed a violation with a lot of isn't there an ordinance referencing some of the sheds and stuff? It can't be within property lines and stuff of that nature? Could that potentially fall under there to help give us something to?
Yeah. I don't know if they look into it, maybe they can find something. We don't have to adopt something. And we already got it.
Uses other than just moving. A lot of people, if they're remodeling their house or something, will take all their furniture and store it in it, and it may take months to do it. But I agree with the mayor that we need to do
Yeah, I
something,
agree.
have something on the books about
Could
it.
be some sort of mechanism to help control that, I agree.
I mean, 72 hours for an RV and unlimited amount of time for one of these, and some of them, I wish I could get the picture up I took of the one that's been there for 6 months. It's really not a very attractive box either. I mean, it's big, blue, and ugly. And the neighbors, I don't blame them. They're ready to haul it out of there themselves. Okay, so at any rate, that's it. Thanks for taking on the added work. Okay, we'll move on to our order of business tonight. Business item number 1. Consideration for approval of an ordinance granting a conditional use for a physical culture and health service gymnasium and reducing salon at 125 Capista Drive in the village of Shorewood. Mr. Brockman.
Thank you, Mayor. Jacob Widener, did I pronounce that correctly? Okay. Representing Rise Athletic Club LLC came before our group last week, in essence, wanting to get a conditional use permit for indoor pole vaulting training facility in a B3 general commercial zoning district. He'll be using the building, well, if you know where Rhino Baseball is at, it's right next door to Rhino Baseball, just to the east. Building already exists. So we did hold a public hearing. Nobody spoke from the public for or against the project. And I think this is the first time we've ever had the minutes from planning and zoning submitted at the time at the village board. And I appreciate that. Thank you. That's really nice to see what happened there. So I'm going to turn this over to Kelly. She can point out the particulars, and the applicant is here after she gets done if you have any questions for him.
Thank you. So I think we pretty much kind of gave a little bit of an overview there. It is, the particular address is 125 Capista. It is the multi-tenant building. It's shared with a couple other professional business offices. As you can see here, the zoning is B3, and the primary access is at the from Capista, but there's also a secondary access off of Gregory Court. And as you can see, the future home of Rhino Baseball is noted here on the map, so it is immediately adjacent to it. You see that it's the second tenant space from the south, and the request is to operate an indoor pole vaulting training facility, which is most similar in our zoning classification to a physical culture and health services gymnasium and reducing salon, which is an allowable use in the B3 with a conditional use, which is why they're requesting the approval. You'll see that there is a pole vault runway and then a pit at the end. There is squat racks for additional training, some storage for the vaulting equipment. There's also some seating area, or a seating area for parents should they wish to stay while their children are training. There are typically 10 students and 1 coach per class. The hours are off hours, generally speaking, to allow for the students to be able to get to their facility after school and to have their parents be able to drive them there, as the student age ranges are 10 and up. So there's also occasional coaching clinics that may occur on the weekend where there may be 10 coaches with 1 coach training or 1 trainer for those coaches. As Trustee Brockman indicated, there was a unanimous recommendation of approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission, and there were 2 conditions that were recommended, and it is essentially to add a second restroom should they decide to do anything more than just the training. So if they decide to have any sort of event, then they would need to add a second restroom facility in accordance with the Illinois Plumbing Code. And then if they desire to have events that spill outside of their tenant space, then village staff approval would be required for that type of event. There was discussion initially to have not necessarily competitions, but maybe exhibitions or things like that. And so in those cases, that's what likely would trigger these conditions. So the applicant is here if anybody has any questions for him.
Any questions from the board?
My only question would be is, do you have any concern about the ceiling height for what your application is?
No, that was one thing that I had to really search really hard for, was that ceiling height, and you could set the world record in that facility. So you could set a foot above the world record. So there's no way that the ceiling height is going to come into play unless the world record's broken by a lot.
No, I mean, that's the only thing that I had a concern is obviously with the pole vault, and I mean, I know it's a concrete tilt-up facility, so.
Yeah, it's perfect. It really, I looked for a really long time for facilities, and it just so happened that the one that really met all of our criteria was in Shorewood, and it's 7 minutes from my house, which really is nice. Yeah.
What's the world's record?
The world record right now is 20 feet 2 inches.
Its ceiling's that high in there?
23 feet clearance height.
23?
Yeah, and then if you go between the rafters, then it's
Well, they're not
an
gonna go between the
additional
rafters, are they?
additional 4 feet. But yeah, so it's it definitely is high enough. So like my family has a long history of pole vaulting, and my brothers and I have competed in NCAA national championships where the ceiling height was 20 feet.
What age
So.
limit do you have? When we were talking about it before, they said it was just like school children.
What age limit?
Yeah, you have regular.
On the
pole
low
vaulting
end
for
or on the
anybody?
high end? On the low end would be 10 years old, I think, is whenever me and my brothers started kind of messing around with it. And so that's the limit that we have right now. We don't have very many kids that are interested in it at that age. But on the high end, there's, kids in college that will compete. My brother is still competing right now, so he will train out of that facility, and he's has a pretty good shot of getting to the Olympic trials next year. So and he's late 20s. So you usually hit your peak actually in the pole vault, usually
So we have
around.
the potential to have the Olympic star coming out
There
of Shorewood
is,
Training
yeah. To be honest with you, yes, there could be. The American record holder, we know, he's I think he won the bronze in Rio, so these people, once this is up and running, it really will draw a lot of people because there's other clubs around, but nobody has taken that leap of faith to put it in Chicagoland. And, stuff's a lot cheaper if you go south or if you go west. But if you do this in Chicagoland, you could really, you can fly people in, to talk to my kids, and things like that. So there's lots of really, really cool plans that we have for our facility. I'm excited about it, very excited about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So when would you, like if this was approved tonight, when would you be ready to roll?
I'm ready to go right now.
Tomorrow?
No, I to be honest with you, I have to get a moving truck to get the pole vaulting pit in. We're operating out of Plainfield South right now, so my goal was to be in next week. That's kind of just what I've been thinking of and kind of talking with the kids about, and so next week would be incredible, and I've already lined up, hopefully people that will be ready to just jump on and start going. And these kids are motivated. They will drive from wherever to move whatever they got to move to help us out. So they're so excited about it. So
Great.
yeah. All right.
I'll make the motion to approve a conditional use permit for physical culture and health services, gymnasium reducing salon to operate indoor pole vaulting facility at 125 Capista and waive the second read.
Second.
Hey, Diane, roll call, please.
Luciano?
Yes.
Warren?
Yes.
DeBold?
Yes.
Kirkland?
Yes.
Brockman?
Yes.
And Anderson?
Yes.
Welcome to Shorewood.
Next week it is.
Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it.
Okay, moving on to business item number 2, consideration for approval of an ordinance creating additional Class I liquor license. This is up for a first read. This is mine. We discussed this, and the area is the Mad Hattery. Mad Hat.
Shit.
Sorry, I still haven't been in there.
It's for Matt Hatchett Brewing.
Mad Hatchet Brewing, okay. And he applied for inside entertainment. Looking at the area, okay, unless anybody else can see anything, and with the hours that they operate, which is very much less than our regular sports bar hours. I didn't see any problem, so we went forward with this to approve this, but needs approval by the village board, so.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, you gotta have entertainment. That's a good thing. That's what we all would like to see out here is this kind
And
of
this is the
stuff.
same, this is the same license we approved for Will County Brewing as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
This is, we're approving an I license, right?
Correct.
And the memo says a K license, the business
no,
hours.
they
They
already have a K license. It's a
Yeah,
brewery.
but it says K, the hours would be from 10 on Sunday and Monday through, or close at 10, and on Saturday 11. It says Class K business hours. Is that what a Class K is?
Yes.
Brewery license.
Yeah, but the next
And that's
paragraph,
what they
What's
already
Class I?
have. So
Oh.
this
Class
is,
I is live entertainment license.
this is in addition to the K.
Right.
If I understand correctly.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance creating additional Class I liquor license and waive the second read.
Second.
And roll call, please.
DeBold,
Yes.
Warren,
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
The business item number 2 has been approved. We're going to move on to business item number 3. Consideration for approval of an ordinance changing the name of Louisa Street and Louisa Street East to Louisa Street South and Louisa Street North. This is up for a first read. Explain this one.
Thank you, Mayor. So as we've been issuing permits and reviewing some old subdivisions, there have been some street name issues that have come up. Some have been able to be resolved at a staff level. However, this particular one does require a renaming of the street to be consistent with the addressing that was assigned. And so as we look at what exists currently, you see that there is a Louisa Street North on the north side of that circle, Louisa Street East, and then the original street name was Louisa Street. So what we are proposing is to correct the street names to show Louisa Street North, where it breaks essentially between lots 20 and 21 and 30 and 32 and 33, and then Louisa Street South for the street on the south side of that circle. If we were to address this type of street in a new subdivision, it likely would be Louisa Circle. However, this proposed change basically has the least amount of impact on the residents because they've already been addressed based on Louisa Street North and Louisa Street South. And so it would require the installation of a single street sign sort of mid-block to show the difference between north and south.
Then the only impact would potentially be what, 4 homes? Are the 4 homes that were being referenced as Louisa Street East, are they,
They were not addressed on a Louisa Street East.
oh, they were not?
They were not. They were addressed as Louisa Street North and Louisa Street South.
So there is a street sign there that does say Louisa Street East.
And that is part of the reason for some of the confusion that occurred. So because it was platted and assigned those street names, we're looking to clean that up and be consistent with what's been addressed out there, and then we'll update the street sign should this be approved.
Yeah,
Well,
makes
especially-
sense.
Makes sense, especially if there's no addresses to Louisa Street East.
You don't
Do away
think,
with it.
you don't think making it Louisa Street Circle would be just easier?
It would, but the problem down there already is the
I'd like to hear it from her.
duplicate numbers.
Okay.
There are duplicate
numbers.
numbers on the north and the south. So if it were to be Louisa Street Circle, everybody would have to be readdressed.
Okay.
And so typically that's not something that we try to do, but it would clean it up. But again, we were looking to try and be consistent with what had already been utilized and create the least amount of impact to the residents.
So going forward, when a new subdivision comes in, we won't have this problem
We
again,
will not
right?
address it like this. That is correct.
You mean like all the Callaways and Butterfields?
Right,
I mean,
right. Yeah, that's
That's
confusing
not
as heck.
confusing at all.
Right.
Sorry.
Bill?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance change.
No streets named after me. Why
Change,
worry about it?
to Louisa Street, north and south, and waive the second read.
Second.
Okay, and roll call, please.
Luciano.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
DeBold.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
Okay, change the street. Moving on to business item number 4, consideration for approval of a resolution authorizing an agreement to use of right-of-way between the Village of Shorewood and Westminster Garden Homeowners Association. Mr. Dre.
Thank you, Mayor. Westminster has asked for permission to use the village's right-of-way. Currently, they would like to go along Mound Road and then go into their center island. I put a drawing in the packet there with the 2 routes. We'll have one that goes underneath to the first island, and then to the second, they want to add decorative lighting, uplighting for the trees that are out there, and then also for some holiday lighting in the winter. So, worked with council on this, and we feel this is a decent agreement to have use of that right away.
Any questions for Mr. Dre?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the agreement for use of a right-of-way between the Village of Shorewood and Westminster Gardens Homeowners Association.
Second.
Diane, roll call, please.
Anderson.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
Kirkland.
Yes.
DeBold.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
And Luciano.
Yes.
Agenda item number 4 stands approved. Moving on to our final business item. Consideration for approval of an ordinance amending the Village of Shorewood Code of Ordinances, Section 3, Chapter 18, for video gaming. This is also up for a first read. What this has to do with is going from 5, authorizing 6 machines per site of machines that are already licensed in the Village of Shorewood. So, Mr. Anderson?
Yes, it was something I brought up a couple of weeks ago at the Committee of the Whole, and we also passed the ordinance to allow 5 gaming terminals a year and a half or so ago. As of July 1st of 2019, the state of Illinois increased the video gaming terminals to 6, and I just think we ought to just get ahead of this and allow the 6th one to be put into the establishments already if they desire to get them, that's all. I think everybody's well aware of it all, so if there's no other questions, I'll make a motion to approve.
I got
Oh,
something
okay.
also, so.
Okay, sorry.
No, I'm all good for this. My only question was, when we talked about this at the Committee of the Whole, the question did come up to the very first paragraph about the way it was worded regarding current holders. Does the way that's stated, does that mean only the existing business owners that had the Class A1, A2, or B1, B2, B3 licenses at the time it was passed are only eligible for gaming machines? That's the only question. It was touched on briefly. I'd just like to get a little.
Right.
I thought when we approved this ordinance initially, it was kind of to help out the bar owners that were losing revenue due to the change in the closing time. And I thought the understanding was that it was for people that held the license at the time the ordinance was approved. So when I brought that up the other day, or at the last meeting, it sounded like maybe that wasn't the case. And so I pulled this wording from 3-18-1, and I just think we need clarification. I thought we were going to clean up this part of the ordinance as well to make it crystal clear for whichever way it's going to go, so that if someone new comes in, then we know by looking at the ordinance, it's either a go or it's not, so.
Okay, then that's where it came from. I just wanted, just to clear, I'm all for moving the machines, making it match. I just wanted an interpretation on,
I mean, I think it just applies to those current license holders, but I'm certainly more than happy to,
Yeah.
if that's the board's intent, I'm certainly happy to change the language to make it clearer.
So when you say current license holders, at the time the ordinance was adopted, okay. Well, that was my understanding too, but then,
Yeah,
I don't,
but you're right, though, it could use a cleanup maybe.
okay.
So are we,
Because when it gets adopted in the ordinance, it sometimes looks a little different than in the codification, because of the timing that's involved.
Well, then when this changes, this date maybe is gonna change then too, right? So then it might muddy the waters a little more,
Well,
I
no,
don't know.
let's just make a clarification back to
Okay.
when it was.
Okay.
So we'll change this, amend this tonight to existing facilities or owners that have the 5 machines could go to the 6 for now?
Can we just have them clean it up and then we can approve it at the second read?
well, I have a question on it. If the state is allowing everyone to have 6, are we saying that any new ones we bring on cannot have 6? Are
If we
gonna just
clarify
change
this,
it
there
to
aren't
go
gonna be
along
any
with the
new
state?
ones.
I'm
I
sorry, I
don't-
didn't hear you.
But
I
don't
said if we clarify this for the way that the intent was in 2018, there won't be any new ones. It's only gonna be who had the license at the time the ordinance was
So we're
adopted.
not
What it
gonna
would be
issue any
is,
more
it wouldn't
license?
be automatically given to a new license, but they can apply for it, just like everybody else.
I just want to clarify, because I'm not understanding what you're saying. Are you saying that only the licenses that are out there now, which are, I think, 5 or 6, that if anyone else, we're not going to issue any more license unless they fall in those class of liquor license that you're talking about?
Well, it's up to the board, okay?
No, I'm asking you a question. Are we going
Well-
to issue the 6, or is that automatic with this ordinance? Or is it something that's going to be changed that we have to vote on each time a new person comes in?
No, we have to vote, first of all, to give them the
Understand
1A, the B,
Right.
and that.
But once we do that, are they automatically going to be qualified for 6?
Well, I think that's the clarification.
Yeah.
Well, I think, well.
They wouldn't even be qualified for 5,
So the
Well,
way,
it doesn't make any difference to me. I
That's-
just want to understand it.
because that's a new application.
so the way
Gaming
I,
machines are separate than the liquor license,
Understand it.
okay?
the way I would read the code is that you had to have one of those classes of licenses on 2/13/28 when the ordinance was adopted.
Right.
And then any one of those that had that has that license, and then subsequently got a Village of Shorewood gaming license, or a video gaming license, could add up to 6, could have up to 6 machines. But if a new establishment came to town, say another Class A license holder came to town, under the current ordinance, you'd have to amend the current ordinance to allow them to have video gaming.
Yeah.
Just
They
like
still
we,
have to go through all the state approval first anyway.
Well, yeah, you'd have to go through the state approval first, but this, you'd have to amend the ordinance to allow them to be issued a license.
but that's no different than we have to, like we create another liquor license or entertainment
Right.
license like
Well,
tonight.
correct.
So it's no
Yeah, the
big
question
deal.
I'm saying is that why would we want to, if we vote to give them the liquor license, why would we want to have to come back and vote to give them 6 games?
No, they wouldn't, no.
Oh, okay.
No,
That's what I was trying to
Because right
understand.
now, the limit's less than 6 in our ordinance. And then the General Assembly just increased it to 6. So anybody who has a license here could go to 6.
Anyone new coming in
Well-
could have 6 also?
Well, so, no.
No, they'd have
Anyone new coming in with for a video gaming license in Shorewood could have 6, as long as they had one of these classes of
licensed,
liquor
okay.
license on 2/13/2018.
But then it has
So
to be
basically, we're
approved.
saying the same thing. Or I'm understanding it that way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll put together a clarification on that. If we feel it needs to be done,
Okay.
let's do it. There's no sense to,
I do have one question about it. I noticed when I looked at the licenses, everyone has 5 except one place. Is that their choosing, or is that the state regulating it?
probably they're choosing. I haven't,
location that has 4 terminals previously had 5 terminals, and I did notice that on the reports over the summer, their number of terminals decreased from 5 to 4. So the village allows them to have up to 5.
does anybody know, was that a problem with the building code? When we went in, they couldn't fit them properly? I wonder what, yeah. You know, it's no big secret. Which place was that?
It's on the thing, here.
We,
4 is Matera Burrito.
The place in front of Home Depot.
yeah, I've been there, not at the machines. I don't like them, but I've been there, and that was an awful tight fit to begin with. They may have had a
I
problem.
was just wondering if why they had 4 and everyone else had 5. If there was
Maybe they just didn't have
they're
room.
choosing, or the state, because of what they're doing, regulates how many machines they're gonna get.
Yeah, I don't think the state, you know, once they've already given them a license, that
Yeah.
5.
I don't know, I just.
Now it's gonna be 6, okay, so.
Probably had something to do with the room.
It's an awful
space.
small spot that they're in, you
I
know.
know a guy in Joliet who had them, and he took one out because he was too cramped.
Yeah.
You know, it's too cramped in the dining area, so.
Hey, the people get tense, they start sweating, they're next to each other, they're crammed in. Probably not a good thing.
Drinks are flying, money's flying, you know, everything's going on.
Pretty soon the elbows start flying. And then we'll have to put 2 more cops on for the machines, okay?
All right, so we're just gonna wait for the second read, get this cleaned up.
Yeah, we can wait for a second read.
All right.
Okay. Moving on to reports, Trustee Anderson, Public Works
All right,
Committee.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. 2 weeks ago, or 10 days ago, we had a lot of rain come through town, about 8 inches of rain on a Friday night. We had our Public Works guys out, and we had some flooding, street flooding, and some basements got flooded. You know, it was a lot of rain at one time. I think everybody went through it pretty good. Sorry for the people who got wet, but, you know, in their basements, that's not good. Birch Drive, storm sewer, that work will start on Monday. The manhole rehabilitation on Basin 5, Kim Construction started in August and should be complete in the next few weeks. And the big money thing on this thing tonight is the generator. At the lift station, it's about $8,100 for the repairs. It's out of warranty. We're gonna see if we can get a little bit of help from CAT and on it, but we're gonna have to pay up front to get it done, which we do have to. I mean, it's gotta be fixed, so that's gonna be going on. Ash tree replacements are done for the year, and 52 and River work is still being worked on for the hand railings. And the big thing today also we had was a sinkhole opened up on Ravinia near Cambridge. It's going to have to be replaced all the way through, it looks like. A little big for us, right, Chris? More than likely.
Yeah, so far, I haven't
So
seen
we're
it
going to
yet.
have to probably hire a contractor in there to get it done. It'll be considered emergency repairs. So you guys are all aware of that. I think you've seen some of or one of the pictures anyway. And the last thing is Westcom Tower out here on Mount Road is up and running. So that's being used now. It's a good thing. And we have a Westcom meeting a week from Thursday up in Plainfield. So that'll be at 6 o'clock at Westcom. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Brockman, Planning and Zoning Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next meeting will be November 6th here at the Village Hall, 7 o'clock. Really too early for an agenda, but we have at least one thing for sure. And besides the one agenda item we had on tonight's, we had also a short learning session on variances that Kelly and Natalie brought before us, and very educational. So whenever time exists with our agendas, she'll have some more stuff. So, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Kirkland, Parks and Recreation.
Thank you. Registration for fall programs is still ongoing. Online registration is available. Visit the website for more details and create your user account. Unfortunately, as Danny talked about a few minutes ago, due to the bad storm that came through the night before our Oktoberfest, it blew over our tent, and unfortunately, we had to cancel the event. Due to date conflicts with vendors and the damage done from the storm, Oktoberfest 2019 will not be rescheduled. We're incredibly thankful that no one was hurt during the storms at the fest grounds, and we look forward to a great event next year and hope for better weather. We would like to thank all of our sponsors for the event, including Christopher Burke Engineering, GS Designs, Shorewood Bank and Trust, Joliet Tent, Gas and Wash, Alden Courts and Estates of Shorewood, Orange Theory Fitness, and Wendy's. Also, a big thanks to our Public Works Department and Police for securing the grounds during the storm and cleanup efforts. Upcoming events, October 27th is our Autumn Fest that will take place here at the Town Center Park from 2 to 4:30 p.m. and will feature pumpkin giveaways sponsored by Coldwell Banker, Trunk or Treat, which is trunk decorating contest sponsored by the Shorewood Lions Club, hayrack rides, and more. If you'd like to donate or decorate a trunk for the Trunk or Treat, please visit our website at vil.shorewood.il.us. And I just have one other thing that I wanted to bring up tonight, and I don't even know if there's anything we can do about it, but you may or may not be aware of the bad accident that was out here at County Line and 52 yesterday. And I know there's been several accidents out there, and I know it's out of our jurisdiction, but it does affect our residents and the people in our surrounding communities. And I just wondered, like, as a board or something, is there something we can do to maybe send a letter to the powers that be, just asking them for, to take a look or to see if there's anything in the works to make an improvement out there?
Yeah, if
I mean, I don't know if, I know we've asked for stoplights and stop signs and those types of
Flashing
things
yellow.
before, something.
They got a
Something, but,
flashing spinner and a sign out there now. I know we're out there a lot on Rex.
Yeah.
myself, so.
They've got petitions going on the internet, Facebook.
yeah, well, I
People
think
sign
something
it,
coming
but
from the
we-
board
we
as
would- I agree with
a,
what you're
you know,
saying.
governmental body may carry a little weight. I don't know, you know, it's
In the
just my
past,
thought.
you've asked for a speed limit reduction from River Road out to the train tracks, and it's been denied, but it may be a time to, you know, talk about that again. We can talk.
How about a flashing yellow caution light?
It's IDOT Road.
Yeah, but I mean, can we ask for it maybe, or?
It's kind of a blind outlet, right?
Thing is,
Yeah.
and you know, this time of year with the corn high, and I'm not sure if there's corn out there in them corners now, but I know that even when it's low, it's dangerous. It's bad out there, so it's, you know.
I just didn't know if there's anything that we can do as a group or not, I don't know.
Reach out to IDOT, at least ask maybe, huh?
Yeah, actually, we can get a number of accidents that, on the records, right, Chief?
I could call state, see if they
Yeah, to incorporate into a letter. And, you know, even with a suggestion that they shut down, you know, make Baltz Road the only alternative to get onto 52.
Go one way.
The majority of the accidents that are happening at County Line and 52, primarily cars that are coming southbound, because if you're sitting southbound there, it's more than 180 degrees from 52 back off your left shoulder
Yeah,
to
yeah.
there. And then when the corn's up, it's even worse.
Well, this is what I mean. If they were to turn, just cut that road off. If there's enough accidents and enough deadly accidents, I mean, then it's got a case to shut that down and make anybody coming
Down
south.
County Line,
Yeah, coming on to 52.
that'll be hard because County Line then is half Will County, half Kendall County.
Yeah, well, this is why it would take state action.
Okay, well, I'll get you the
I mean,
number
yeah.
and I'll call state, try to get that.
Problem with that, then, of course, is if you're coming east on Balch, you've got almost a 360-degree angle to get onto.
Yeah, but the visual's a lot better, okay? To go west, you mean, to go west.
No.
Coming off Balts,
Correct.
you come down to where you can see everything coming on 52.
Correct, to the east.
From the east.
Correct.
And
You've
you've
got
got a
almost
better view than you
360
do.
degrees back to see what's coming from the west, though.
Well, I always come out that way because I feel safer coming out that way. Okay? At any rate, it could be something. And at least get the dialogue started with them and see if they want to look at it. I agree. Okay, so we'll go ahead and draft something. Not saying that any answer is the answer would be to go back 150 years and straighten out all the streets going from county to county. Okay, that would be the answer. And we wouldn't have that big curve having to get to the other county road or the state highway. Isn't that what happened?
Do you know?
You're the
what-
old
do you-
farmer
Do you know
around.
the story, why that's like that?
No, but I got 5 minutes.
You do.
No.
John Baltz told me that his grandfather sat down when they put that road in, and it was supposed to go behind the house so that it would be straight over there instead of having that turn like it is now. And I guess the grandmother made him a nice dinner, and they said, well, we'll put it over here then that way. So
Okay. All right.
that's the story
There's
I
probably a
heard.
million tales why that curve's out there,
Yeah.
right? The Japanese were coming.
But if you go down to Manhattan now and see what they're doing to Gauger because of all the problems they've had down there, have you seen that, Chris?
You made that a circle.
And they're just north of Manhattan. They're coming to make it 90 degrees into 52, so it's they don't have that anymore like that. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty good idea. But
Yeah, they do have that.
That's the best idea for out there would be to eliminate that S-curve. It was underwater during the flood and
yeah.
well, I don't know how long they were closed for, Chief, couple hours at least, right? Yeah. Just a mess.
All right. We'll let them know our concern as a board, that our residents are in danger. Okay? Okay.
I guess that's all I had.
Right. Need a motion to go into
Oh, we
executive
got
session.
citizens advisory.
Citizens Advisory.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. In addition to our other discussions at the last Citizens Advisory Committee, we did review the new state cannabis law with the committee members, and Kelly gave them an idea of what the law was about, because we wanted to get some feedback, and we told them to talk to some of the residents and think about it, and at our next meeting, they'll come back and give us some feedback on it. We also had a discussion on some article that was sent to us by the Three Rivers Realtors on the modernization of zoning ordinances. And we were just discussing it to see what their feelings were about it. There are some interesting things that did come up. Our next Citizens Advisory Committee will be October 24th at 7 p.m. at the Village Hall, second floor, large conference room. As always, if anyone is interested in coming to that meeting, you're welcome. And if anyone's interested in getting involved in the committee, you can contact me or one of the committee members through the village website. And that's all I have.
Okay.
I have one question. Did we give the trick or treating hours out yet? I had a couple of people ask me the hours, and I didn't know
No.
what they
It's,
actually
well,
were.
it's out there, though.
Is it out there?
4 to 7.
4 to 7? Okay. I don't know if it
I've
was
seen it on
posted
social
somewhere.
media and on our website
Yeah.
and different things, so
Yeah.
I don't think we announced it here at the board meeting. but-
Same as last year.
Yeah, I figured it was, but I didn't know.
I don't think we've had the official announcement.
Yeah.
I think it comes at the next meeting.
That's fine.
2 years ago. But it used to be 5. Is it on our website?
It is? Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for probable or imminent litigation We will take no action from the executive session, and we will adjourn from the executive session, so
So moved.
you all can
Second.
go home. Diane, roll call, please.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
DeBold.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
We're in executive session. Take a